Yeah, hello and welcome to another update video about Polkadot. Just wanted to talk about Polkadot while a lot of cryptos are really recovering at the moment. You can't really see a lot with Polkadot, and for me that is just a further confirmation that we are going to see a further downside here, that we have further downside potential, because bear in mind that Polkadot hasn't reached its low yet. I would still be in pretty much in favor here of a final correction, a final sell-off into the region below this wave A, and that would be sitting here between pretty much $6 and roughly $11. So that is where I did have it all the time, and I would currently just sticking with that because Polkadot is in this descending channel, so it's not really recovering a lot, while some other cryptos are moving up here quite strongly. Polkadot at the moment, at least not yet. Just a very weak consolidation at the moment after this fairly strong move down between the 15th of January and the 24th of January. Since then, we haven't really gained a lot here, and it just shows that the chart is fairly weak still, and it just needs to complete its correction. That's just what it has to do in my view. This is an ABC, so after we made the high here in May, we came down in a wave A, similar to Bitcoin, moved all the way up in a wave B, an overshooting wave B, which did overshoot the previous wave 1, which is fine. It's possible, or the wave 5, which is possible, not a problem. After that, now we are moving down here in a 5-wave move, in my opinion, and we've broken obviously all the moving averages to the downside, like so many other cryptos as well. And we are now in this descending channel, struggling to push higher here. Yes, probably a recovery is possible, a little bit more certainly. Wouldn't be surprised if we get to that resistance level here once more at 2250. That is pretty much here that previous low, which we had here on the 7th of September. It's quite an important level. We had support here before as well on the 19th of December, 20th. And I think it is that, and also here on the 10th of January. So pretty much you could call it the neckline of that head and shoulders, which did form here. So wouldn't be surprised if we retest that for resistance and then could get into the final move down. And what we can see here pretty much since the 4th of December, Polkadot hasn't really moved a lot. Fairly boring price move at the moment. But there is a lot, I think, brewing underneath, It just needs to finish off its correction before it can then build new all-time highs. That's at least my current view, still my primary prediction. And bear in mind, Polkadot is also in this descending channel. So should we break above here this red line, this resistance line, this neckline of the head and shoulders, then we can still retest that descending channel resistance. That is obviously a sort of dynamic, not dynamic one, but a descending one. So that value is always different depending on when you're testing it. So if that just happened right now, that level would be at around 2450. But that is also where you can see here in orange, this line coming down. This is the 50-day moving average, quite a relevant moving average for cryptos. And you can see that was together with that descending channel also resistance here in the past. So also why, I think together with Bitcoin, my prediction for Bitcoin is that we can move up quite a bit now, a little bit, before we get into the final stage of the sell-off and the correction. Also in line with that, I would expect Polkadot can move quite a bit up as well. As I said, potentially from where we are now, if we stay within the channel, that would be at least, that would be a 22% upside, wouldn't it? So that is actually not too unlikely, and definitely possible. And 22% upside would not be, would be quite nice actually. But what we need to see, it is supported actually by the daily MACD here, which has just had a bullish crossover. You can see that here. And typically after such a strong sell-off, where a cryptocurrency or any asset really gets into the oversold range, we saw that here on the daily, this is typically where we can then expect some upside, and it needs to do that. Otherwise, another sell-off is hardly possible. And because it is so weak at the moment, it's hardly recovering. It just takes much longer. Okay. So the MACD here, or the daily indicators, they definitely support a further recovery, yeah, before we get here into the final stage of a sell-off. And because it hasn't reached its target area yet, I would believe we are still gonna get there. For example, Ethereum looks a bit different. Ethereum has already reached its target area. VeChain, for example, has, yeah. So these could theoretically start to move up, where Polkadot actually hasn't reached it yet. So yes, of course, a little bit of up and down is possible here, but I think we are still gonna get there. Also, Link is still gonna still has to get into the area before we can see a recovery. I stick with that view at the moment. There is nothing that would tell me otherwise. There's no impulse that's building here, and even on the higher time frame indicators here, there is still further room for falling further. You know, it's not like that this is currently starting to turn around massively. No, not really. So yes, short-term recovery possible, but then message is we are going to continue here in this channel to the downside. At least that is my current view. And it just needs to finish off the correction. That's pretty much the you know, that just has to happen. The wave C needs to move, is typically below the wave A, and yeah, so far it's going according to plan. You know, it's going according to plan, and we talked about this target area down here, I think in November already. So it's pretty much playing out. So the first buy order for Polkadot hasn't yet triggered. Of course, in my view, looking at from where we're coming from, $55, even the current prices, this is more than 50% from the all-time high. In my view, they are attractive prices. I, however, would personally wait until we get into the target area. Of course, it's never guaranteed. Please always bear that in mind, because there are a lot of people who, you know, maybe never watched a TA video before that may watch this. It's never guaranteed that we're actually going to get there. This is all probabilities, yeah. So if I would maybe give this a 75% probability that we're going to land there. That's why it's my primary view. Of course, other interpretations might be possible, other moves might be possible, but for me, this is the most likely scenario. But anybody who's of course interested in, because always these questions always come in, I can't tell you if you should buy now or not, because that's an absolutely individual decision. You shouldn't really trust anyone else to tell you what you should do. That's your individual decision, but videos like these will give you information that you can then use to come to your own conclusions. That's how I see it. That's how it only can be, because nobody can give away their own responsibility for you know, when to invest and how to invest and everything. That's an individual decision. Yeah, that's also very important, because money is far too valuable for that. You know, you work for that, that's your money, so you need to come to your own conclusions. But as I said, these videos can help you to come to your own conclusions, but don't always rely only on one person. So yeah, come to your own educated decision. That's how it has to be. But for me, the current prices are already very attractive. But I personally, for me, have chosen not yet to start to invest in Polkadot. I rather focus a little bit more on other projects where I had the buy orders a little bit higher, or the projects that have already reached their target areas like VeChain. Polkadot still has a bit of a way to go, but of course, you know, interesting prices already comparing it to the previous all-time high. And then looking at where it can go, we did talk about that, where it can go if it breaks out of that. 1 second, just need to move that. As soon as it breaks out here, and completes the correction, we can see levels of around $80. At least I would say that's the 1.618 Fibonacci extension. That is typically what's achieved in a wave 3, which would be the next wave up, at least, yeah. But possibly also we're going to see the $100. I would even see this a bit more likely. And if it's going really well, we could even see here the 2.618 extension at $130. But 80 would be my absolute minimum for the next wave up. And bear in mind, then you get another correction and then another move up, which should go even higher. Yeah, hopefully you liked the update about Polkadot. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you really like the content, consider to join the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.